to you, you'd leave now.
Don't go getting yourself arrested for murder.
Shooter was someone who knows firearms well.
Lightning.
Bullets for 95 grain, that's subsonic. This wasn't a first timer.
These people are connected and stone cold killers. So be smart, don't break the law, and promise me you won't end up in another holding cell.
No.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 Amazon TV show Reacher. A show that stars Alan Richardson as Jack Reacher. We have Malcolm Goodwin as Oscar Finlay and Willa Fitzgerald as Roscoe Conklin. Now, this TV show is based on the famous Jack Reacher books. There have been over 24 Reacher novels, I believe, in total. And this TV show is based on the first novel in the series, which was called Killing Floor. Now, the series focuses on Alan Richardson's portrayal of Jack Reacher, who turns up in a small town called Margrave, is looking for, some history of this old blues singer. He ends up getting framed for murder initially and ends up working with the local police department trying to figure out who is at the bottom of a series of deaths, one of which being his brother, Joe. Right, what are my thoughts on this TV show, Reacher? Well, I have to say, I'm a big fan of this character, Jack Reacher. Now, I haven't read the books or anything like that. I do know an awful lot about the character. And I am something of a fan of the Tom Cruise films. Now, Tom Cruise, many Jack Reacher purists will say that Tom Cruise should never have been cast as Jack Reacher in the movies. He did two movies, Jack Reacher and Jack Reacher Never Go Back. The first one being the better of the two. And at the time when the movies came out, I'll be honest, I didn't know an awful lot about Jack Reacher at that point, so I didn't carry that baggage into those films, and I enjoyed them for what they were. However, after watching this show, I'm not sure I could go back and watch them movies now, because it kind of puts it in sharp contrast as to how much Tom Cruise is not Jack Reacher. And the author, I have seen interviews where the author Lee Child, even though he's a fan of Tom Cruise and his acting and this kind of stuff, never really thought that he was the right fit for the part, but he still supported it. Because I think Alan Richardson superbly portrays this character of Jack Reacher. Now, Jack Reacher in the books is 6'5", 250 pounds. He's like a man mountain, basically. And that is the exact opposite of Tom Cruise. Alan Richardson, who was a big guy, I think he's 6'3". He did pile on about 30 pounds of extra muscle to play this part, but he's a big guy. Under normal circumstances, he far more projects the image of Jack Reacher in this TV show, and he just did such a great job. I mean, I don't know much about Alan Richardson. I keep calling him Richardson. Alan Richardson. I know he's done a couple of things that I've seen him in, but he's never really cracked it into the big time. Well, I would like to suggest, after watching him in this show, keep your eye out for this guy, because he is going to probably potentially maybe be the next face of action films. That's how good he is in this role, portraying this somewhat old-fashioned character, you could argue, this huge guy who doesn't take no crap from no one, but in actual fact is very, very smart too. He's got a real detective's brain. And I do think this show projects both sides of him, the macho side of him, the fact that he can pretty much kick anybody's ass, and the intelligent side of him, the fact that he's a very, very talented detective. And I do think this show balances that out quite nicely, because I think if they'd have just focused too heavily on his macho side, it probably would have felt a little bit too old-fashioned. The thing is with Jack Reacher, he kind of wanders from place to place and gets drawn in and helps out people as and when he can, sort of thing. He doesn't have any record, any social media, anything like that. There's no real evidence that he exists unless you know where you're looking, sort of thing. So, you know, he's this guy who doesn't care about material things. You know, he just wants to wander after leaving the military. And I think the structure of this show does a really good job of portraying the character, the fact that he isn't that complex a character, but he is at the same time. And they structure it quite cleverly into just 8 episodes. I mean, they could have overdone it and done, I think even 10 episodes would have been too much, because there are a couple of moments in this show where it does kind of slow a little bit, and you're feeling like, you know, they're telling one novel in that 8 episodes. So I do think they probably embellished it a little bit with a couple of things here and there, which probably slowed it down. But when this show delivers, it really delivers. I mean, it gets you, the first couple of episodes really grab your attention. It's violent, it's gritty, it's fun. It's got some good one-liners. There's some great chemistry between the cast. And it does make you really come on board with this character, especially the first episode when he goes into prison. And he absolutely takes no prisoners in that prison. And he takes no prisoners throughout the whole film. But it's also realistic in a sense of when he does come up against people who are more trained, it makes it a little bit more difficult for him, which is realistic. He's not like this just an unstoppable man. He can be hurt, and it just portrays that in this show really, really well. So I really enjoyed my time with Reacher. It's the show that the books deserve, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of this, because my understanding is it's already been renewed for a second season, which absolutely delights me. I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know which novel they're going to focus on next. I mean, they've got 22 novels to work on, so they could essentially keep going for quite a few seasons if they so wish to, if the ratings keep going and it's still as popular. They've got so much body of work to work with here to continue making this show, and I really, really am very much looking forward to the second season. So, yeah, if you want to know what Jack Reacher is all about, watch this show. Even though the Tom Cruise films aren't bad films in themselves, I'm not sure I can go back and watch them now after watching this show, because this is who Jack Reacher is. This show and how they've portrayed him. It's just really, really good, and it's an interesting story that does grab you, and it is. It holds your attention, is what I'm trying to say, throughout the whole season, which I didn't necessarily know if it would do. It got to about the 3rd episode, I'm like, how are they going to drag this out, sort of thing? But they do. They managed to. It managed to keep you interested throughout the whole thing, keep you guessing as to what is actually going on and how are they going to solve everything that's going on in this place called Margrave. You know, with all this deep corruption and all these deaths and all this stuff going off. But they do manage to pull it off really, really well, and I really enjoyed my time with the show. So check it out, guys. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back with plenty more content and reviews on the channel very, very soon.